Hello, good people. This is Sam here at She Does the Most, and today we are decorating my planner for my daughter's birthday. So exciting. So let's get into it. Okay, she is a big fan of Kuromi, and so I decided to do a Kuromi themed spread for her. Very different than anything that I have done on this channel. So she got this sort of stationery kit for Christmas, I believe, and I didn't want to buy anything new to do this decorating, so I decided to use what she already has. I'm also going to use these little purple post-it notes, these black and white letters from the Dollar Tree, and these boxes that I had left over from a previous spread, and some tape runner. So I'm just going to go into my planner and take out the sheets that I need to use for this. And then I'll actually go through everything that I took out of that little pencil case. So I'll lay them out so I can kind of get a game plan going and see exactly what I'm going to do. So we're going to get in nice and close. And she has these, what I can only imagine are bookmarks, and they are white on the back. So they just have a design on one side, and I'm thinking about using this as some sort of decor element. So I am laying it out just to see what I want to use. I really like this one because it does have like two sections, and I definitely want to include some that has a lot of black. And so I am going to go with these two. And she has some post-it notes. And so, or sticky notes, because I guess they're not the post-it brand. But I was thinking about using those sticky notes similar to how you would use wrapping paper or craft paper to add a decorative element. I am cutting this bookmark apart and just laying everything out to see where I want to place it. So I thought that it would be a fun idea while I am decorating this to talk about my birth story. Probably a lot different than you're used to hearing while watching a plan with me, right? So, about a year or so ago, I gave birth, but that is not the birth story that we are going to be talking about. We are going to be talking about my birth story from almost a decade ago. Hopefully, I can remember the details. But this spread is for my daughter that is turning 9, and I just wanted to talk about her birth. Okay, so let's dive into it. I think I had just turned 27, I believe, and I have just graduated grad school. So I graduated in May, I turned 27 in May, and then I think it was June that I found out that I was pregnant. And it was unexpected, and it was also a very nerve-wracking experience. Not the pregnancy at all, but it was very worrisome because of just my family experience, I would say, with fertility and childbirth. So up until that point, I had various family members that were struggling with infertility, so they were struggling to get pregnant. Fortunately, today, everyone that wanted to have a child in my family has had a child, at least one child, but it was not an easy road. And there's also a family history of pregnancy loss. So I was just pretty much worried from the beginning to the end. I wasn't worried so much about motherhood because I think I knew from a very young age that I wanted to be a parent. And I was not the kind of person that necessarily loved people's children. Like, I didn't just see babies at the grocery store and just went up to them and smiled and giggled, and there were no babies in my family up until that point. So it wasn't from experience. I didn't work with children, but it was just something that I always knew that I wanted and that I always knew that I was going to be good at. And so I found out that I was pregnant, and, my then boyfriend, now husband, we just did the things to make it work. We moved in together. We got a bigger apartment. We set up a nursery. We did all the things. I didn't have, any extreme health complications, so I didn't have to see a high risk specialist or anything like that. I was in my 20s, considered as healthy as I could be. And so the pregnancy kind of just went along without any issues. So I would consider myself a little, what would I say? A little hippy dippy, a little granola, And so my ideal birth plan would be like to give birth on the floor of my bathroom at home, unassisted. And that is just what I wanted to do. Now, I have worked in the sciences my entire life, and so I was going to give birth in a hospital, but it was not the experience that I wanted, and so I wasn't going to do a birth center. Like, I understood the risk and wanted to be close to a medical facility because of anything can happen. But, I still wanted an unmedicated birth. I wanted to just labor naturally and give birth and just feel, the pain of birth and go through that experience. And I wanted to pull her out myself and just do skin to skin until forever. And of course, I wanted to exclusively breastfeed, and I wanted to cloth diaper, and I wanted to do all of the things. I wanted to do all of the things despite working full time, very long hours, at a very demanding job. So it wasn't easy, but I worked up until my due date, and I was due, I want to say a Sunday, and I worked up until that Friday, and on Sunday I went into labor, and I labored at home for as long as I felt like I could. My then boyfriend, now husband, was very nervous and just really wanted to get to the hospital with the experts. But, I was just like, my body knows what to do, and it's just doing all the things, and the contractions didn't hurt that bad. And so we did go to the hospital, and when I went in, I said, I'm in labor, and the nurses looked at me like, okay, she's probably not in labor. And I didn't know that they didn't believe me until later, when they checked me and I was about 7 centimeters dilated. They were like, oh my God, you are in labor. So I remember sitting in the room, and I think we were watching The Walking Dead or something, and everything was going swimmingly until they checked my blood pressure, and my blood pressure was a little elevated, and then it became even more elevated. And I had a doctor's appointment, 2 days prior, so I didn't have high blood pressure my entire pregnancy. But long story short, I was having preeclampsia the day I went into labor. So my doctor arrived, and he was not a very pleasant, understanding man, and he claimed that my blood pressure was high because I was in pain and I needed pain medicine, and that if I didn't get it and they had to rush me into an emergency C-section, I would miss the birth of my daughter, and there goes all of the experiences that I wanted to have, and she wouldn't latch on, and there would be no skin to skin, and a lot of scare tactic-y things. So I agreed to have an epidural. Although I didn't feel like I was in a lot of pain, my doctor said that my blood pressure was high because I was in pain. And so I had the epidural, and, the timeline is a little fuzzy, but to me, almost immediately, my daughter's blood pressure dropped. I think my blood pressure dropped very quickly as well. And they couldn't pick her up on the monitor. They flipped me, rolled me around. They broke my water. They did all of the things, and they ended up rushing me into an emergency C-section. So not only was I very devastated by the possibility of losing my child at the end of my pregnancy, which I have a family history of that. Multiple, scenarios where that was the case. And so, not with me personally, but with family members. And so, it was just, it was very scary. And of course, at that point, I agreed to everything, yes, do the C-section, do whatever it takes. If you had to cut me from my eyebrows to my toenails to deliver a live child, do whatever it takes. And so I ended up having an emergency C-section, and I was, thankful. I was very thankful to be handed a live child, but I still mourned the ability to have the experience that I wanted. I just wanted to take a quick break from my birth story to tell you guys that I chose this sticker with Kuromi with this big purple baby just because I laughed so hard when I saw it, because it reminded me of Olive with her little sister, and her sister was humongous at like 6 months old. So that's why I chose that sticker. So, despite all that being said, she was born, and she was gorgeous, and she was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and she looked nothing like me, which was devastating, but she did end up getting an afro, so I was really excited about that. And, we just charged head on into mother-daughterdom, and it is still growing strong, and she's just really a great kid and a joy to have. And she is just so funny and so smart, and she's really like cool, like I don't think I was cool. I don't think I was cool at 9, and I don't think I'm cool now, but she's really just a cool kid. And I learn so much from her every day. So I just wanted to decorate this spread to her. And, Easter is right around the corner. So I wanted to at least have my planner decorated for a week in honor of her. And I'm not able to use this ID holder, but there is a keychain and a button. And so this is my planner for the week, and this is the spread. Please thumbs up this video as a big happy birthday to Olive. Please leave her a happy birthday in the comment section. And thank you for viewing this and listening, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.